There's news coming in that the majority of Spider-Man scenes in Avengers Doomsday will be performed by his stunt double. Hearing this, I was quite surprised because this can only mean two things. The first possibility is that most of Spider-Man's scenes in Doomsday will involve action sequences where he will be wearing a mask. The second possibility is that they will manage everything in post-production or reshoots. But as much as I know the Russo brothers and the huge responsibility they've been given, they're not the kind to compromise. They have to make a film bigger than Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, which they can hardly achieve by only showing a stunt double. So, in my opinion, Spider-Man's role in Avengers Doomsday will be something where he barely needs to speak. And maybe, just maybe, we're about to see the most badass version of Spider-Man ever. But how will that happen? To understand this, we first need to look at Spider-Man's MCU origin, which remains a mystery. However, from the information we do have, we can form a rough idea of how Gangadhar Shaktiman, Peter Parker, became Spider-Man in the MCU. Peter Parker's first appearance was in Iron Man 2, where he was seen at the Stark Expo, and Tony saved his life. This was confirmed by Tom Holland himself. From this, we can conclude that Peter has always been a fan of Iron Man and frequently visited the Stark Expo because of his love for technology. It's highly likely that during one such expo or science trip, Peter was bitten by a radioactive spider, which gave him his powers. Now, if we look at Spider-Man's origins across different versions, these radioactive spiders are usually the result of some random experiment, and Oscorp is mostly behind them. But since there is no Oscorp in the MCU, confirmed in Spider-Man No Way Home when Norman Osborn tries to find Oscorp but discovers a completely different building, we can't say for sure what that building was. However, we can certainly guess that something might be replacing Oscorp in the MCU, and that could be Stark Industries. Stark Industries doesn't just work on weapons, but also advanced technology like nanotech, AI, and more. So, there's a high chance that Stark Industries had a bioresearch wing as well. To support this theory, we can take an example from Iron Man 3, where Aldrich Killian approaches Tony with the extremist idea. Now, if Stark Industries didn't have a bioresearch facility, why would Killian go to Stark? Also, Tony drunkenly wrote down the solution for the extremist problem, which Maya and Killian worked on for years, but couldn't perfect. In the end, Tony found the cure to remove extremists from Pepper's body. From all this, we can conclude that Tony is smart enough to have a bioresearch wing under Stark Industries that could handle such projects. So, let's assume that the radioactive spider that bit Peter was actually a product of Stark Industries, and that Tony knew about it. This would explain why he was monitoring Peter from the very beginning. Otherwise, think about it. How did Tony come across the clip of Spider-Man stopping the car in Civil War, which wasn't even that viral and had only around 4,000 views in the MCU? On top of that, Tony had such a strong attachment to Peter that he treated him like his own child, constantly read his texts, guided him, and even sent his suits to protect him when needed. This clearly shows that Tony was keeping a close watch on Peter's every move. Tony even knew where Peter hid his Spidey suit. Now, isn't that strange? Tony ignores calls from even the most important people. He even ignored Nick Fury at one point. But here, he was taking such great care of Peter. Why? Maybe because Peter got his powers because of Tony, or maybe Tony made a promise to Peter's dad or mom. I know this might sound like a stretch, but just wait until we reach the conclusion. You'll understand why I'm saying this. And this wouldn't be the first time Tony's indirect influence affected someone's life. I would categorize this under sins of the father, just like how Tony had to face the consequences of his father's actions in Iron Man 2. Similarly, Peter had to deal with the consequences of Tony's indirect actions in Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man Far From Home. Vulture became a villain because Tony created damage control. Quentin Beck, aka Mysterio, became a villain because Tony integrated his illusion technology into Barf. But Peter was different. Being an Iron Man fan since childhood, he chose to be a hero and started helping people. He also took down villains like Vulture and Mysterio. Since Tony was like a father figure to Peter, he designed multiple variations of Spider-Man's suits, more than he ever did for Hawkeye or even Captain America. This clearly suggests that the radioactive spider that bit Peter Parker in the MCU. Now, let's get to the main theory. How exactly could our beloved Spidey become a villain in Avengers Doomsday, or join Doctor Doom's side? I have two theories. The first theory suggests that Peter's parents were scientists who worked for Stark Industries, just like in the amazing Spider-Man movies, where Peter's parents worked for Oscorp. Tony Stark might have been involved in their deaths, not in an Oscorp-style send assassins after them way, but more like an accident or event where Tony failed to save them. Either Peter's parents made Tony promise to look after him, or it was Tony's guilt that made him act as Peter's guardian angel. But when a radioactive spider, created from experiments conducted by Peter's own father, bit him and gave him his powers, Tony had a reason to keep Peter even closer and protected. Otherwise, think about this. Why was Peter's photo in Tony's home in Avengers Endgame? But there was no picture of any other Avenger, not even Rhodey, Tony's best friend? For now, Peter doesn't know the truth behind the radioactive spider. But what if Doctor Doom reveals it to him? What if he tells Peter that the very man he idolized, Tony Stark, is the reason his parents aren't alive? This revelation would cause an emotional turmoil within Peter, which would be further amplified by the symbiote suit, fueling his anger and making him ruthless. Doctor Doom would do this because Spider-Man isn't just powerful, he's also young and easily manipulated, just like Mysterio did in Far From Home. After all, Peter first got the black suit during Secret Wars in the comics, so there's a high chance something similar could happen in the MCU as well. Now, my second theory suggests that it was actually Doctor Doom who opened a portal and dropped the radioactive spider near Peter, ensuring that he got bitten. This would have been Doom's way of creating imbalance in this universe, something similar to what we recently saw in Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. If we go with this theory, then Doom was successful because the first multiversal crack in the MCU happened because of Peter, No Way Home. Even if we use the Spider-Verse logic, Peter becoming Spider-Man might not have been an event that was meant to happen in Earth 616. And from that moment, the collapse of the universe, incursion, began, which was triggered by Doom to fulfill his ultimate goal, creating Battleworld. Dr. Doom's motive is also strong. He wants to create a utopia under his rule, where there will be no wars. A compelling reason for heroes to switch sides, and Peter could be one of them. Who knows? Doom might have promised to Spider-Man from another universe that he could prevent the deaths of Uncle Ben and Aunt May, figures who die in almost every reality. If Peter believes Doom, he might join him, and as a power-up, Doom could give him the symbiote armor. After all, Spider-Man's most out-of-character, evil form has always been his symbiote version, something we already got a glimpse of in Spider-Man 3. So, if I conclude my theories, there are three possible reasons why Spider-Man could join Doom. Manipulation. Doom convinces Peter that Tony Stark is responsible for everything he has lost and promises to restore it. Creation. Doom was the one who ensured that Peter became Spider-Man, essentially making Peter his creation and training him. A new world. Doom offers Peter a place where his family and friends can live in a world without suffering. This version of Spider-Man would be like the Winter Soldier, a soldier who blindly follows orders. That's why his dialogues would be minimal and his action scenes more intense. The Russo brothers could handle Spider-Man scenes even in Tom Holland's absence. As we all know, Tom Holland is busy shooting Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. So if the Russo brothers are using a stunt double, it means there might not be many face-revealing scenes in the movie. Maybe his true face will be revealed at a shocking moment that will leave everyone stunned. Perhaps Earth 616 Spider-Man will be the one to stop Doctor Doom's Spider-Man. It sounds convincing, but the truth will only be revealed when the movie comes out. Until then, let me know in the comments which theory you find more compelling. And if you like this video, don't forget to like and share it, and subscribe to our channel for more contents. To understand how powerful Sentry is, watch the video above. And for the ending breakdown of Captain America Brave New World, watch the one below. I'll be back with a new video soon.